welcome to our second small business webinar. My name is Michael Roventine. I'm a web designer here at CYBERsprout, and we're going to talk today about going beyond online reviews and how to demonstrate trust on your website. So quick input from everybody. Where are you joining us from today, and what is your role? I'll keep an eye on the chat here and see. Good to see you too, Kathleen. All right. Alexandria representing. Okay, that's good. Lots of Alexandrias. Hey, Colleen, nice to see you. Minneapolis, Des Moines, very nice. That might be our furthest so far. Give it another second here if people want to. Alexandria, nice. See if anyone else wants to chime in. I won't be a judge of anyone's typing speed. Antigua, Guatemala, hello, Kristen. Okay, you are now our official farthest away participant. Stillwater, great. Another, oh, hi, Jen. Another Guatemalan person in the house. Excellent. Well, welcome again. I'm glad you're here. We have a lot to cover, so I'm going to dive in. And again, as questions occur to you, please feel free to put them in the chat and we will take care of them. So you probably all heard the quote, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. We're not sure exactly who said this. It's been attributed to both Oscar Wilde and Will Rogers and everybody in between, but nobody has any evidence of them actually saying it. The earliest use of the quote I was able to find was in a marketing sense. It was in an advertising slogan back in the 60s for botany suits. So definitely right in the heart of Mad Men era there. But nowadays, of course, it's called the Head and Shoulders rule. I don't know if it's just me or if the average age of our attendees remembers those iconic Head and Shoulders ads. Bottom line here is it's very important to make a first impression. And in terms of a website, you have such a narrow window to do so. So one of the best things that you can do to establish right off the bat a good first impression is to establish trust. So trust, that's what it's all about. No offense to the hokey pokey. And that's a lot of what we're going to talk about today. It's going to be woven through the threads of a lot of these tips and suggestions. There we go. Move forward here. So the numbers back this up. Our another CyberSprouter here, Tyler Goldberg, posted last month on our blog a great post about developing trust in all kinds of ways on the website. It covered some of these statistics. These are powerful statistics, in my opinion, in terms of what people are thinking when they go to your website. 70% of users judge you based on your website and their experience there. 58% of clients will check you out before even contacting you. And sadly, only 3% of most people trust salespeople and marketers. So we have a hill to climb here. But how can we do that? Well, one way we can do that is to look to our customers. I talked to Aaron Wakey recently about this presentation that I was going to be giving, and he shared this. Knowing what your customer thinks is everything, and when your customer thinks great things, you want to leverage that everywhere you can. Aaron knows what he's talking about. He's CEO at GatherUp, which is a customer feedback and online review platform. He's been doing this type of thing, looking at customer feedback for a very long time now. And I think this is a great place for us to jump off from with this webinar. So how are some ways we can leverage great things our customers say about us everywhere we can? Well, a website is a great opportunity to do that. And one way that we can do that is to utilize the concept of social proof. Now, you may not have heard of this specifically before, but it's everywhere. And once you know about it, you're going to start seeing it on every website, hopefully yours, but every other website you look at. Social proof is the notion that people follow the actions of others. So in other words, we trust and imitate the positive experiences we see others having. This is why we read product reviews before buying things on Amazon, or check out restaurant reviews before we go out to eat or go pick up our food nowadays. Social proof is a powerful way to build trust with users and increase conversions on your website. There's some psychology behind this. Robert Cialdini studied this many decades ago and found that social proof builds upon the fact that people don't really know what proper behavior is for a given situation. They will look to others to see what they're doing, and that will help them decide their course of action. This is kind of a deep, ingrained piece of us. So his book states that we view a behavior as more correct in a given situation to the degree that we see others performing it. So this was true when we were on the savannah and looking around at others to see what the best things to eat and hunt were, and it is true online as we look around and see how people should respond. So in many cases, without even realizing it, this concept of social proof is really pushing us forward to emulate the behavior of others. So this notion, as I mentioned, has been studied for decades. This is not new. This has been part of marketing since those Mad Men days and earlier. But the rise of the internet has brought customers and feedback together in ways that they could only dream about back then. Social media, once you add it into the mix, has created this really amazing mix of items that social proof can leverage, can be part of. It's really part of our daily lives now. It's an important factor in making decisions, especially when the outcome's uncertain. We covered that. And in this case, people usually make decisions based on the experience and actions of others. Smart companies can use social proof to build trust with the customers and to increase their conversion rates. So here's some numbers on social proof. And again, I feel that these are pretty dramatic stats. You can find millions of these stats, and I always try to find the most recent ones I can. So 92% of customers read reviews online before buying. That's not that shocking. 88% trust user reviews as much as personal recommendations. That one really surprised me. And 83% of people trust reviews over advertisements. That one, again, isn't that shocking, but this is powerful. Social proof really does have an impact. The principles behind it, there we go. Principles behind it, basically built around three core ideas: uncertainty, similarity, and expertise. And really briefly, uncertainty looks at new or unfamiliar situations that tend to cause a level of uncertainty and doubt in people. And when they're unsure on how to act or behave, they feel like they need to look around to others for guidance. We talked about that. Similarity, people are more inclined to follow the actions of others that they think are similar to themselves. So it's not just any social proof you're looking at. You're looking at social proof that is coming from people who you feel are like yourselves, or people you want to emulate or who you respect. And finally, expertise. When in unfamiliar situations, people also seek guidance from people and organizations they view as experts in the space. Logic dictates that people with more knowledge make more informed and therefore better decisions. So we are going to cover the basic types of social proof here. And I'm going to go through each one and give you lots of examples. So we're going to break social proof. This has been, again, depending on what you look at in different articles that have covered social proof, you see 6, 12, 20 different social proof types. We're going to pare this down to these 6 for the purpose of this discussion today. Okay, here, hold on one second. So customers, subject matter experts, influencers, celebrity brands, crowds, large numbers, friends, or certifications. So I will go through and explain each one. So let's start with customers. Your existing customer base is obviously is an important part of social proof. These are people with firsthand experience with your products or services. Their positive experiences can compel and convert new customers. It's a very, very powerful thing. So I'm gonna ask you a question here. How many of you are using any customer data, behavior, or feedback on your website? And we're gonna do this as a poll. So let's find the poll. There we go. So just yes or no. Quick chime in there. Be interested to know if you're using any right now. And I made it kind of broad. Customer data, behavior, feedback. This can include numbers. It can include more traditional things like reviews and testimonials. Great. Oh, we're neck and neck. Give it another second. Actually, while you're answering, I'll give you this cartoon to read about how the world has changed since online reviews have entered our lives. So this is pretty good. It's 60-40 split. Anyone else want to chime in on that? Looks like the answers slowed down. That's okay. So yeah, so it looks like just barely the answer is no. But that's okay. That's what we're here for, to give you lots of ideas on. So here's some examples on how to incorporate customer-driven social proof into your website. We're going to start with ratings and reviews. Of course, these are the most popular. It's a classic example we're all familiar with. Customer reviews and star ratings build trust, instill confidence, answer important questions buyers may have about a product or service. Your website should provide customers the opportunity to leave a review and make that easy as possible. Strive to make this a must-have somewhere on your site. But you don't have to just stop there. While they go a long way towards demonstrating a history of success, thus building confidence and your potential customers, there are many other elements of social proof you can use to increase excitement and urgency in your business. And you want to be responsive to these as well. I'll cover this a little bit towards the end and when I talk about negative social proof. But this example, not just tooting my own horn, but I love it when I get responses from people I leave reviews for. So it's great to get responses from positive reviews. Even better to get responses from negative reviews. And again, we'll talk about that a little bit more towards the end. And you can, on the note of making reviews as easy as possible to leave for your customers, Google's paying more attention to this as well, especially how visitors interact and engage with your result or with search results and content. So social proof can give you a leg up when the user is weighing a choice between your pages and the competitors and a search result. So Tyler Goldberg posted just this past week on how to use social proof for better SEO. And I'm going to share that with you right now. If you want to read the post later, of course, so you can pay full attention to what we're talking about here, but save that. And it's full of some good information about something you don't really see much is the impact of SEO on social proof. I'll leave that up for another second there while people are clicking on it. Great. And this will be in the collection of resources that you will have access to after the webinar as well. There we go. Nice. Okay, moving on. Testimonials. So what's the difference between a review and a testimonial? Well, review, the customer is leaving that pretty much of their own accord. Testimonials, you are going out and hopefully asking for, this is definitely something you should do, and trying to get mini success stories squeezed into these elements so they can be really compelling examples of social proof. They provide genuine feedback on a customer experience, but because they're curated by the business, we have a little more control over them. And most of the time, customers are not going to leave any kind of feedback without some sort of prompt. I don't leave Google reviews just because I feel like it, but I'm nicely reminded as I'm leaving a restaurant or a business, hey, you were just there. Do you want to leave a review? If I hadn't been already prompted by something I saw in the store or something I saw on their website. So there's a couple things that kind of make up the anatomy of a good testimonial here. And you can see them on display here from FreshBooks. This is a nice, aside from just being a nice clean layout, they have photos. So presumably photos of the real people. They don't look fake. They have really nice short messages, but they're powerful messages and specific. And you have a name, you have a job or business affiliation. In a best case scenario, you could click on some of these elements and see that this connects to a real person, or you could click on the company name or something like that. So this brings a full level of authenticity to your testimonials and make it much more believable. Another thing you can do, and I love this use from OptinMonster, you can use testimonials aside from just laying them out and saying here are our testimonials. You can use them very strategically in certain places. So this is a little pop-up that happens when I'm leaving the site for their service to sign up, and they're using a really great testimonial with specific numbers, increased revenue 30% since using them. And again, they have a picture, and you can click on this and go and get more information. But I thought that was a really nice use. So don't discount what you where you use your testimonials. And by the way, I just forgot to do it. When you're done with the poll, click back over to chat if you want to keep an eye on the chat stream, or if you want to leave questions or anything. So we're going to move on to case studies. So now we're getting even more strategic as we go. So unlike reviews and testimonials, case studies provide in-depth, behind-the-scenes information about a product or service. A really good case study will tell a story. Usually takes the form of presenting a problem, explaining how it was overcome. Like any good story, beginning, middle, and end, lots of specifics. You can insert some drama if you wish. This can be an extremely powerful form of social proof as potential customers identify with the problem and look to you to figure out how you solved it and how you might solve it for them. Again, in many cases, these are going to be completely curated and controlled by you, but reaching out to your customers to obtain the data from these and then actually crafting a good case study is going to be up to you. Once again, very, very powerful use of social proof, and worth the extra effort to create it. So social media mentions is another type. Basically, mentions of your company or products on social media can be used to convey social proof, and they also have built-in verifiable components. You can click on and the user account number or user account name and be brought back to whatever network that person is on. There may be some links or hashtags or something in there that are also could also be active, and you can do this in a variety of ways. You don't just have to stick to a off-the-shelf widget that brings the post onto your page. And when you're using it as social proof, you want to have more control over that. You want to curate whose mentions that you're listing, and you want to show the best ones. So here's a few examples. Visiboo on the left here is a company that provides tools to help professional event planners plan and execute events. So they have a whole customer testimonial page, and aside from the design, which is really fun, they pull in these really positive mentions on Twitter, and again, link back to all of these elements. Blue Apron is the one with the delightful little girl on the burger. Has a showcase for home chefs, and they'll pull in mentions from their and call out followers from Instagram. And then finally on the bottom, this is just from Campaign Monitor, but it's nice. These are mentions on Twitter, but they've kind of styled them like a testimonial, and this is in their footer. So again, fun use, and it can have power, and you really can design it however you like. So it can really tie in with your visual identity and your brand. Here's another idea on how to incorporate social content. Customers, like anyone, love to be featured, so why not have a section devoted to them? This can include photos, posing with your products, wearing your products, videos of them using your products. Possibilities are limited only by your imagination and industry. You can use user-generated content culled from social media or items submitted to your website directly. You could call for this type of information. Both of these are sort of pulled from an account or from a hashtag. And then once you do that, don't forget to tell your customers that this exists. Reach out to each of the people that you're including so they can share this as well and reshare it on their channels. So another great example from Nordstrom. So surveys leverage the customer's willingness to provide more information willingly. So time is valuable. Sometimes customers don't want to spend it writing a review or submitting a testimonial or something like that. So giving them an option to take a short survey and then being able to use the results is a really smart use of their time and of you utilizing that for social media or for social proof. Here's an example of the before and after. So the top is Nordstrom, a little banner there that asks people to take a short survey, and then the bottom for Change shows the results of a survey that they put out to their customers. And it could be as simple as a question or two, but then you can use as a bragging point, hey, 96% of our customers would purchase from us again by having that data. Okay, the last one in this category of customer-based social proof is recommendations based on what others have purchased. So this is also known as the Amazon technique, and we've all seen this. It's proven to reduce cart abandonment and encourage further exploration of your products. 35% of Amazon sales are driven by this recommendation algorithm. So it's a really extremely valuable process to adopt. And again, there are lots of ways to accomplish it, but if you have any form of online shopping or e-commerce on your site, utilizing something like this is a great way to go. So moving on to subject matter experts. So customer opinions and feedback are valuable, but hearing from experts, as we covered before, can add a whole new level of credibility. So the experts are going to vary for your industry, but you want to use somebody who makes sense. So this is from a Kickstarter about this new pillow, and they're using these neurology and sleep experts and a sports psychologist to talk about the impact from a professional standpoint that this amazing ostrich pillow has. Very smart. So again, it's you're only going to be limited here by the type of industry you're in, and the process is the same. You reach out just as you were contacting somebody to leave a testimonial, and these don't necessarily have to be customers. You could present them with a sample of your product and just be upfront and tell them, you'd love to get their professional opinion of the impact of this product from their expert view. Another one is media logos or earned media that you've had as a business. There's lots of ways to do this, but some great examples here about going beyond just listing. You've all seen the center middle option there mentioned and then there's a whole bunch of logos. I would hope that those all link to the article themselves. And that's fine, but you could take it one step further. You take a page from the way movies handle their reviews. The top example is great. So you pull a couple of the best little bits from the review, and then you tie that to the logo of the publication. Just the bottom one is a really nice, it's a leather shoe maker. And the way they've written that up, again, it's kind of like a testimonial style, but instead of leveraging the logos, they're leveraging the statements themselves. And not only does it look really great, but it is powerful when you're scanning the page and establishing trust right away. So influencers, celebrities, and brands. This is another opportunity that a lot of businesses have, despite your industry, despite your budget, despite your geographic location. 40% of people say they've purchased a product online after seeing it used by an influencer on social media. That's from Sprout Social. So what does this mean for you? Well, you could look towards celebrities. I wanted to put quotes around celebrity. I'm going to air quote it because these don't have to be, no offense to Jason DeRusha, but these don't have to be Hollywood celebrities, A-listers. None of us have $1 million to pay Beyonce for one post. And that is, I just looked it up again last night. That is her going rate. But there are local celebrities or experts in our industry that have celebrity status that we could use. So in this example, or these two examples, so this is Twin Cities anchorman and well-known food reviewer, Jason DeRusha. He supports Second Harvest Heartland. They work together a lot, and he's a great celebrity endorser as well as personal supporter of that charity. On the other side, WP Beginner makes videos they're using these industry experts to promote the value of their videos. So both smart uses of celebrity, and they're not gonna break the bank. On the other side, you have influencers, and there are influencers for anything. All you have to do is look. So you could find one that's connected to your industry, and you can connect and partner with them. So here is an example. Jenny Anderson is very well known as a Minnesota influencer for all kinds of winter-related sports and outdoor activities, especially ice fishing. And on her website, she has a page about how to partner with her. So that would be, if you happen to be in an industry that would benefit from that, you just have to reach out to these people. And again, most of the time they make it easy for you by having information on their social profiles. And again, this is a respectable following, 16,000.2 followers. If you're doing anything outdoor related or camping equipment, she has a little mini camper she calls Hot Dish that travels around. There's lots of ways to tie into very authentically an influencer like this and their brand and their voice, and have them speak for your brand. So here's another one that people use in a lot of different ways, and you can push that. So this is using client or customer logos to demonstrate social proof. It is indeed a type of social proof. There's a little bit of overlap with using media logos here in the way you do it. So if you're using both mentions and customers, you want to make sure that you treat that different visually. But here's some fun examples about just how to do that on different sites. I love the Slack example down here because they're actually doing this nice little hybrid of a testimonial, and they're bragging about some very impressive numbers here, 750,000 companies, and then on the bottom they have some heavy hitter names of clients that we may be familiar with if we're not living under a rock or something. So you want to keep track of that as well. If your client list includes a bunch of clients and companies that are very, very local or extremely niche oriented, or that just aren't household names, you may want to stick to the numbers and say, hey, we serve 150 central Minnesota companies, as customers rather than listing a whole bunch of customers that may not have that recognition. So moving on to crowds and large numbers. So this type of social proof is based on the herd mentality or fear of missing out. In essence, we're strongly influenced by the choices others make, and this can be used as a selling point. We've been talking about this the whole time. By leveraging your company's unique numbers, you can show how well established your reputation is and apply a social pressure. Why aren't I one of those numbers? Why aren't I in those numbers? And you create a sense of urgency, which is always good when used correctly in marketing. So some examples would be highlighting the number of orders. I've sold 15 million copies of this book, or McDonald's have been doing this for decades. You know, billions and billions served. I want to be one of those billions. You do this with stock levels, and this really creates a sense of urgency. There's only 9 left, or there's only a few left, or 2 more seats left on the flight. We see this all the time, and it's encourages immediate action, which is good. The number of people viewing a product does the same thing. So how many times have we been on, especially e-commerce sites, and seen these little things appear? You know, this many people are viewing the product in the last 24 hours, last 10 minutes. Hotels.com does it with, you know, 3 people looked at this room in the last 20 minutes, and really amps up that urgency. Bestsellers, always a good way to go. The New York Times have been doing this for forever, but just couching it as a bestseller, hopefully that's a true thing, honestly, does give a sense of urgency to it. And the logic is, if it's a bestseller and a lot of people are buying it or participating in it, if it's a service or something, that there must be some value in it. So that is a good additional point that you can use as a selling point. Same goes for highlighting popular posts or products. It's a variation on bestsellers. Highlighting these items proves that other people are interested in them, and you have a lot of leeway in terms of what makes them popular. This could be posts or services or products. You see here lots of ways to emphasize that. Subscriber counts. So if you have an important subscriber count or an important sounding subscriber count that's impressive, use it. The same goes for social media accounts. If you have 14,000 Instagram followers for your business account, that's impressive. You should brag about that. Or if you have 350,000 on your email newsletter, that's great. But until you hit those numbers, tend to be more general or not use that type of social proof, because it could backfire on you, as we'll look at in a minute. So in essence, you want to show off your best numbers. And if you're and they don't have to be the types of numbers we've just covered. There are lots of examples. Akismet at the top here is listing how much spam it kept off the web and how many per hour. This example for Help a Reporter Out on the bottom, you know, really impressive numbers. They have, you know, 475,000 sources, 35,000 journalists plus. This is very impressive, and this is, you know, it's hard to not be compelled by those numbers. If you're having trouble picking out what some of those numbers could mean for your business, there are lots of ways you could get creative. So how many customers you've served or helped to date, how much money people have saved by using your services, how many particular problems were solved by one of your products, how many years you've been in business. So every business, whether they're just starting out or they've been in business for years, are going to have something they can brag about. So it's just a matter of finding it. Okay, friends. This is the most credible form of advertising. Comes straight from the people we know. Nielsen Global Trust in Advertising Report recently stated that 83% of online respondents in 60 countries say they trust the recommendations of friends and family. So we want to leverage that for our purposes. So this is a step up from just following the crowd. It's following a crowd of people you know and hopefully like. So Facebook uses the others like this feature. This is exactly that type of social proof. Eventbrite shows you who else RSVP'd to an event that you know. Twitter displays people you follow that also follow another person. Social media is essentially built on this type of social proof. So an example of this would be referral marketing, creating perks and incentives to encourage customers to refer their friends. Customer referrals generate social proof for sure. You can take this a step further and offer some kind of incentive or benefit for the referral. You can't do that for testimonials and reviews and things like that. But Airbnb has a nice invite your friends and get up to $100 travel credit. That's great. So, and that's a very kind of tried and true form of social proof. Facebook integration. So this one you got to be careful with if your numbers are not that impressive, but it is really compelling and super smart of them. You look right down there. So even if I don't pay attention to the number of likes, I can look and see, oh gosh, look, 25 of my friends like this. So if this was a business I was on the fence about working with, I could see right there that these are people I trust, and again, hopefully like, and I want to follow their example. Certifications. So this one, this is, some people are surprised this is a type of social proof, but it can add trust because it often comes from credible third-party sources. And these range, these can be all over the place. Now the caveat here is you don't want to use this as your sole form of social proof and just rely on that. But some of these, and some of these are also called comfort seals. So just seeing Visa, MasterCard, Discover, lay out there on a purchase page will sometimes be enough for people to just breathe easier, or seeing that your website's secured or you're a Better Business Bureau accredited business. If you have more specific industry things like TripAdvisor or your content marketing certified, that's important. So if you're a consultant and you want to share your Google certification or something, or finally, if you just want to assure people that your products are made in this country, this is a great way to do it. So, whoops, sorry about the break there. Might switch to convert to PDF here, messed up some of my formatting. Thought I caught it all. So some certifications, the categories that we're talking about here, they include badges. This would be awards, association memberships, certifications, trust icon seals, Better Business Bureau, SSL certificates, privacy badges, credit card logos, rankings. These are industry specific, so it could be some stuff from Yelp or TripAdvisor, local awards, voted best Minneapolis Wings 3 years in a row, that type of stuff. Or could even be test scores. Google has a trusted score that it gives you for compliance on a number of things, technical. So see what you can find, but again, put these in the right place too. You don't want to litter the whole site with them. They don't need to be in the footer of every page, depending on your industry. They could be on the page where you need to make put your security certifications on the pages, on your checkout pages, and on your purchase pages. Put your personal badges on your about page, or your consulting page, or wherever people are going to start down that path to become a customer. Put them in the right places, and they can work really well. But don't just assume that you can leave them on the bottom of your site and they're gonna do all the heavy lifting for you. Now, there is a dark side to social proof, and that is negative social proof. So negative social proof does exactly what it sounds like. It will send the reader in the wrong direction and sends the message that a lot of people are doing what you don't want them to do. So we're going to go through this really quickly so we can get to Q&A. So here's an example. The Petrified Forest State Park put, oh wait here, I lost my notes, you can tell. There we go. Okay, so this is all about phrasing. Phrasing is important. Again, Robert Cialdini covered in his book, Yes, 50 Secrets from the Science of Persuasion. Visitors were stealing wood from the Arizona petrified forest, and the messaging on the signs was changed to try to address this. So They had a range of them, but here are the two ends of the spectrum. So the first one, collecting petrified wood, is prohibited. They were still getting people stealing this precious petrified wood. So then they upped their game. They put this one with photos even. Many past visitors have removed petrified wood from the park, changing the national state of the petrified forest. So the question to you is, which sign was more effective? And I'm going to stick another poll up here, just A or B. Which would you think did the job? Okay, I'm seeing lots of B's. Okay, get an A in there. Give you 10 more seconds. Okay. I don't see anybody else answering, so I'm gonna cut that short. The answer is that option B increased thefts by 3 times the level that the original lame, just don't collect petrified wood sign had. And the reason for that is because most likely the phrasing made it sound like it was a popular activity. And reduce the stigma of the crime. Look at those people, stealing the wood there. They don't look ashamed. So the negative messaging actually had the opposite effect, and many, many more people stole these valuable national resources. Here's another example for an online specific example. So a couple of years ago, you might have seen these pop up. They still do every year, but the messaging has changed on Wikipedia asking for donations. And the way they're doing it is using these very negative aspects to try to convince you to give. So this one on the left is from Ireland. It's from the US. Fewer than 1% of our readers give. This one is definitely from Ireland. Yeah, on the other side, 90% of our readers ignore this message. So these are not, for most people, these messages are not compelling. When you have as many users as Wikipedia, it isn't stellar, but even a little bit goes a long way when you start getting smaller donations. But basically, you want to focus on the desired actions you want visitors to take, and not include examples, or you want to include examples of them actually performing that action. Avoid words like don't or not. Positively direct them to go where you want them to go. Subscribe, donate, purchase, follow. These are the things that are going to move you forward and could sabotage your social proof efforts. Here's another example. So lack of accountability. The power of social proof comes from authenticity, real people sharing their actual opinions and experiences about your business. So when using social proof on your website, you want to include photos, we've covered that, affiliations, links to the original source if possible, so you can be shown as being transparent and honest with your visitors. So what's wrong with this testimonial? Well, first of all, that's obviously not a real picture. You can even see the watermark from the stock company that they took it from. So they're using an unauthorized stock photo, which as a designer is a horrible crime to me anyway. But in this sense, obviously that's not a real customer. It's not the best thing in the world if you have to put one of those little silhouetted heads in there, but at least it's better than nothing. It's better than using a fake photo. If you can find a real photo, absolutely use it. And it's okay if it's not the best photo. Just try to crop it as nicely as possible and clean it up a little bit if you have some Photoshop skills. But authenticity is gonna definitely weigh more than using falsehoods any day. The other thing about this, we just have Tom as his name. So even an initial, if your industry is specific about that sort of thing, is better than just the first name. We have no affiliation, nowhere to click to see that this is legit. And the testimony itself is lame. This doesn't tell me anything. This doesn't tell me this is a real testimonial. I mean, yes, it's positive, but it doesn't increase my likelihood to buy. It doesn't walk me down that path to conversion. So we can do better than this. So strive to include more than this in your testimonials. Another aspect of negative social proof can be low numbers. So using numbers as social proof, super compelling as we've seen in the right circumstances. But how many times have we seen pages proudly displaying share counters with zeros across the board? And that's okay. You know, not everybody gets shares, not everybody gets comments, but turn the numbers off. Use the ones that don't show you the combined total or the individual total of the shares if they're non-existent, especially, but if they're also very low. Once your numbers get up and you wanna promote that, go for it. But there are lots of ways, in most cases, just in the settings of these tools you're using to shut these off. And it's gonna go a long way to not just sending that negative message. Too much and not enough. Unless your business is just starting out, visitors expect some kind of social proof. So the absence of anything, product reviews in your online store, client testimonials about your service offerings, is going to be a flag to customers. Even if they don't notice it on a conscious level, it's going to be there. So try to get what you can. If you're just starting out, maybe that's a good one. You've obviously had a few interactions with clients as you were gearing up. Maybe you talk to them about testimonials or a case study, and then solicit your new customers as you grow for reviews, look on social media for mentions, encourage mentions, things like that. So there's lots of things in the earlier part of the webinar that you can use. On the other side, too much social proof can also backfire. Now, while there's no such thing as too much social proof in and of itself, you can have too much of it on the page. Here's an example. I'm not going to cite the company. So join more than 800 happy customers. That's great. That's an impressive number. I don't need to see 800 logos, which is what this feels like to me. So show your best. Pull out your best. Same thing with sites that feel like they need to have so many different types of social proof. As you scroll through the homepage, you see testimonials and case studies and certification badges and this list of customer logos and media mentions. It's just too much. So consider condensing them. Create a separate section. Don't use all of them. Use the best, and you can mix and match, like some of the examples we saw earlier. You can show your best review with a couple logos of clients under that, and maybe next to that a couple little counters with some impressive stats about your customer numbers or your products or whatever. Make a nice little hybrid area, and that's going to work much better for you. And then finally, on the subject of negative social proof, just being out of touch. And there's a lot of pieces of your site that can lead people to the sense that you're being out of touch. And that's definitely a turnoff for customers, especially nowadays. So here are the signs to watch out for that your site could be sending negative signals that you may not be aware of. Are there no photos of your staff, facility, product, etc. on your site? Are you relying entirely on stock photos? Even on your about page, like do you at least have a photo of your team on your about page? That's important in terms of authenticity. Doesn't have to be professional photos. You can put in what you have for now, but having authentic photos mixed with stock photos, which have a place, is a great way to go. Is your blog not up to date? This is the bane of my existence. So if you have a blog and you're listing it in your navigation, and it hasn't been updated in months or years, what are you saying? What are you saying to people? So retire it or put it way on the bottom or deeper into your nav. Same goes with social media accounts. If you're advertising somewhere on your site, we have Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, and then I go to those accounts and they're dormant. They don't look like anybody is using them or haven't used them in a while. That's going to send the wrong message. You don't reply to reviews. So again, reply to reviews. Make a point of reviewing the review sites frequently that your customers use. Put up some search queries so you can find and get mentions of yourself or notifications when you have mentions, and respond to them, and especially the negative ones. Try to work those out. Lots of resources online about how to respond to negative reviews, but at least try and get it in there and let people know that you're listening. And then finally, you employ fake social proof. So hopefully this goes without saying, but don't buy reviews, followers, anything else related to artificially inflating your reputation. Aside from being a bad business practice, it's illegal and completely unnecessary. There are many ways to generate authentic proof from your actual customers. So I hope you see from all of this, social proof has a considerable impact on customer perception, can strongly influence customer purchase behavior, and adding social proof to your website is an easy marketing win. Doesn't have to be complicated. Whether you're just getting started or been in business for years, you can use these tips to gather social proof and leverage it to generate referrals and sales.